The sun was sinking behind the rolling hills of Texas, painting the dry earth in a fierce, red glow that matched the heat in Sheriff Cole Dawson's veins. He'd been riding for days, tracking a gang of cattle, rustlers that had been terrorizing the nearby ranches. He was known across 3 counties as the man who didn't miss his mark, cold, precise, and unshakable as the desert wind. But that day, when he rode into the abandoned farmhouse at the edge of Dusty Creek, what he found made even his hardened heart falter. There, on her knees in the dirt, was a woman, her hair tangled with dust, her dress torn and her eyes full of desperate fire. "Take me as your prisoner, Sheriff," she said, her voice trembling but steady. "Just save my family." Cole tightened his grip on his reins, unsure if he'd heard her right. "Ma'am," he said slowly, "you know what you're saying?" She nodded. "They have my children, the same men you're hunting. They'll kill them if I don't bring them, someone they think is worth more." Her voice broke, but her gaze didn't waver. "You're the law and they fear you. If they think I've captured you, they'll trade my family for your life." Cole's jaw clenched. He'd heard plenty of wild plans in his life, but none so reckless or so brave. He studied her, the way she stood despite the pain, the way her hands trembled but didn't falter. This wasn't a liar. This was a mother ready to sell her soul to save her children. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Clara," she whispered. "Clara May Carter." He dismounted slowly, his boots crunching the dry dirt. "Clara May Carter," he repeated. "You just might be the bravest fool I ever met." He could have turned her away, could have told her to hide and let him handle it. But something in her eyes, that flicker of fierce love, reminded him of what he'd lost long ago, his wife taken by outlaws who'd left him nothing but vengeance to live for. He couldn't let another woman face that same pain. "All right," he said finally, pulling off his hat. "You got yourself a prisoner." That night they staged it. Clara tied his hands loosely with rope, her fingers shaking as she worked. The plan was madness. She'd deliver him to the gang's camp and hope they'd keep their word. As the moon rose, they rode together in silence, the tension thick as smoke. He noticed the way she glanced at him, half fearful, half trusting, and something stirred in him that he hadn't felt in years. "You sure about this?" he asked one last time as they reached the edge of the canyon. "No," she said softly. "But if I don't try, they die." Her courage hit him harder than any bullet ever could. When they arrived, the gang's campfire flickered in the darkness. Shadows moved. 5 men, rough and armed, laughing like devils. Clara dismounted, pulling Cole by the rope. "I got him," she called. "The sheriff himself." The laughter stopped. One of the men, tall and cruel-eyed, stepped forward. "You done good, Clara," he sneered. "Didn't. I think you had it in you." She held her chin high. "Now let my family go." The man grinned, showing yellow teeth. "All in good time." He turned to Cole. "Sheriff Dawson, never thought you'd be fool enough to get caught?" Cole's voice was calm. "I ain't caught yet." Before anyone could move, Cole broke the rope with a swift pull. He'd loosened it earlier for that reason and drew the hidden knife from his boot. The fight erupted like thunder. Clara ducked as bullets whizzed past her. Cole moved like lightning, every motion precise and deadly. 2 men fell before the others even realized what was happening. Clara grabbed a burning stick from the fire and swung it at a third, giving Cole the opening he needed. It was chaos, smoke, shouting, fear. But when the dust settled, only Cole and Clara stood panting, the rest either dead or running into the dark. "Where are your children?" Cole asked. Clara pointed toward a shack beyond the rocks. They ran breathless, hearts pounding, and when he kicked the door open, 2 small faces looked up, a boy and a girl, tied but alive. Clara dropped to her knees, sobbing as she held them close. Cole turned away, giving her a moment, the weight of it all pressing on his chest. For the first time in years, the cold in his heart began to thaw. As dawn broke, Clara came to him, her children by her side. "I don't know how to thank you," she said softly. Cole gave her a faint smile. "You already did. You reminded me what it means to fight for something. That matters." He tipped his hat, ready to ride off, but her hand caught his. "Don't go yet," she said. "You saved my family. Let me at least make you breakfast." He hesitated, then nodded. For the first time in a long time, the lawman let himself rest, not as a sheriff, but as a man who'd found a reason to feel again. The days that followed were quiet, filled with the simple rhythm of survival. Cole stayed to make sure Clara and her children were safe. The gang's remnants might return, and he wasn't taking chances. He helped repair the roof, fix the barn door, and teach the little boy, Tom, how to ride. Each sunrise felt like redemption, each sunset like peace he'd long been denied. But beneath the calm, something deeper brewed, a connection neither of them had planned for. Clara watched him sometimes from the porch, his tall frame outlined against the morning light, and wondered how a man who carried so much pain could still be so gentle. She saw it in the way he spoke to her children, in the quiet respect in his eyes when he looked at her. Not pity, not desire, but understanding. One evening, as the sun bled gold across the sky, Clara walked out to where Cole was mending the fence. "You never told me," she said softly, "why you became a lawman." Cole didn't look up at first. "Because I couldn't save the people I loved," he said after a moment. "Figured maybe I could save someone else." His voice was low, almost a whisper. "My wife was killed by the same kind of men who took your kids. I've been chasing ghosts ever since." Clara stepped closer. "Then maybe it's time you stopped chasing and started living again." He looked at her, really looked at her, and for a moment, the air between them was still. "Maybe," he said finally, his voice breaking the silence. That night, after tucking her children into bed, Clara found Cole sitting by the fire. She sat beside him, their shoulders almost touching. "I don't know how to thank you," she said again. He smiled faintly. "You already have. You gave me back something. I thought I lost and hope." The crackle of the fire filled the silence. She turned toward him, tears in her eyes. "You saved my family, Cole, but you also saved me." For a moment, the world shrank to just the two of them, the lonely widow and the haunted sheriff, bound by pain and courage in something they couldn't yet name. When morning came, Cole saddled his horse. Duty called. There were always more outlaws, more towns in need. But as he mounted, Clara came running out, holding something in her hand and a small locket. "It was my husband's," she said. "He'd want you to have it, for what you've done." Cole took it slowly, his throat tight. "You sure?" She nodded. "Yes, and when you're done riding and fighting, maybe come back. There'll be a place for you here." He rode away into the rising sun, the locket clutched in his hand, her words echoing in his mind. For the first time in years, he didn't ride alone. He carried her faith, her strength, and the warmth of a family he never thought he'd deserve. The desert wind was still cold, but it no longer felt empty. Somewhere behind him, in a little farmhouse at the edge of Dusty Creek, hope was alive, and maybe, someday he'd ride back home to it.